Yeah, g'day folks. I'd like to show you one of my latest projects I've been working on. And this video is the intro is a take 3. First intro I did didn't work due to a corrupted file on the camera. Next one, I had a problem with the audio file. The audio didn't work for some reason. So hopefully this time we'll get somewhere with it. Okay, coming into this shed, I need to have a bit of a clean up. You know, have a look over here. So what I have, it's an early GE 32 volt DC electric fan. These fans were used in Central Australia on the cattle stations, or cattle ranches as called by American friends. In the early days, the stations had 32 volt DC power that was provided by a wind turbine or wind generator known as a freelight, and also they would have had an engine running a generator providing 32 volt power that would be used to charge up a bank of lead acid batteries. These fans are rather scarce to find nowadays. A number were damaged when a lot of properties converted to 240 volt power. The fans are wired up, and when they plugged into the 240 volts, which would quickly destroy them. So they're quite rare to come by. So this fan came to me in fairly poor condition, and this is a resurrection video. I'm not going to restore the fan. I have now got it working, but I'm leaving it in its original paint. Anyway, the fan itself is a heavy cast iron construction, very well made. Brass blades, metal cage. Motor assembly is mounted in a sort of cast iron hoop, and it has the pivot for the oscillation of the fan. Next part of the video will be showing the disassembly and clean up of this fan unit. And over here is my old Morelli fan that I did a video on a few years ago. This is used quite frequently in the workshop. Brilliant old beast of a fan to, keeps the air moving around on a nice hot day like we have today. The screws for the bottom plate have been removed, so be able to gain access to the switch assembly. Big old spider's nest in here. So it looks like a spider must have set up camp inside the switch assembly. Yeah, here look, there's the legs. I'll just zoom in on this and focus. Okay. It was a fairly large spider. You can see the leg structure. Probably a big huntsman. I wonder if we'll find the live one up here. the switch assembly will be removed and serviced, cleaned up and checked out, make sure it's operating correctly. I've got Johnny the cat coming out to see what's going on out in the shed here. So here's a big unit, and we named him Johnny the cat. So he's getting on a bit. He's probably about 8-year-old now. That's still pretty good for his age. And we'll have a better look at him here. Well, doesn't want to stick around for the camera. Anyway, back to the fan. And I've done a partial disassembly of the motor. Remove the key components, like this the oiler. It's full of a lot of dried out grease. Remove the brushes. I've labelled or scratched on the brushes the position they came out of, so they'll go back in the same way. Got the speed selector. It's in good condition. And here's the motor. So I've got the rotor. Anyway, the commutator is going to need a good clean up. It's not very worn, so there's plenty of life left in that commutator. There's no ridge on it or anything, and the brushes that came out are still of a fairly healthy length, possibly the original ones as far as I can tell. So that'll clean up well. Then you've got the stator windings here, and I've measured those. The resistance of those is okay, so I think be able to rebuild a healthy motor out of this one. And here's the yoke frame assembly. All the motor has been disassembled and all the parts cleaned. Serviced the speed selector switch. And that's moving nicely. I've checked out all the gear train for the fan oscillation, and all the brass gears and everything look okay. There's no major wear on them. And the commutator on the motor has come up really well. Absolutely no wear on that either, so it seems to suggest that this fan has probably had fairly low hours on it as far as operation goes. And now it's just a matter of reassembling the motor and rewiring and put it all back together, and hopefully we'll have a good working 32 volt fan. Well, partially assembled the motor, and it's turning very freely, so it should run up nicely, this motor. And I've got a bit of light industrial grease in the gearbox here. Assemble the rest of the motor and do a test run on it. Righto, I've set up a DC power supply, and I'm just going to run this motor up and just make sure it's going to work properly. So got it connected to my old Hewlett Packard 0 to 40 volt power supply unit, and here we go. Okay, we're up to 32 volts now. And the gear train's moving nicely. Righto, I'll finish rewiring the fan and put the speed selector switch back in place, and I use some old cloth covered mains flex that I recovered from another bit of old gear. I decided to keep this original cloth covered wire for the motor. Being a low voltage fan, electrical insulation is not such an issue, and plus the wire is still in reasonable condition. There's no signs of it breaking down or going to short circuit anytime soon, so I'll retain that for now because it's sort of a part of the old look. And as I said before, this is more of a resurrection than a restoration. I'm sure a lot of fan purists out there would rather the whole thing be repainted back to the original dark green and all new parts put it back in it, but this one, all the parts are in good order, so I decided to keep them as is, and I personally like the old look of an old appliance with the dust and the oil and years of dirt accumulation. Makes it look more authentic, so that's the way this one will remain for now. So anyway, matter of putting the base back on and applying some power, and I'll see if this fan will work. Righto, time to give the fan a test run. Well, there we go. It seems to be working okay, I reckon. Well, there you have it. Thanks for watching, and catch you all next time.